Hi, it's Nick Astor with TriplePundit.com here at the Fortune Brainstorm Green 2013 conference. I'm here with Steve Howard, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer at IKEA. And we had a nice conversation back in November, I think it was, at BSR, and appreciate you joining me for another quick one. The question that came to my mind is textiles. IKEA uses a lot of textiles, and textiles is both an energy-intensive and a water-intensive process. And I understand you've got some new developments that may help to reduce the impact of textile manufacturing?
Yeah, I mean, just first, we love textiles. Mm-hmm. So if you imagine, we've got a fantastic little YouTube ad where you can see a world without textiles. Mm-hmm. And if you imagine there's, no pillowcases and nothing on your sofa, there's no curtains, no drapes. So we like textiles. But textiles, you're right, Nick, they use a lot of water and a lot of chemicals in textiles in the manufacturing process. So what we've looked at, installing effluent treatment plants at every single plant, making sure they're state of the art, and looking at water saving. And where you use water, because you have to heat it up, you use lots of energy as well. Mm-hmm. So textiles are energy intensive, CO2 intensive, and water intensive. Mm-hmm. We've been having a friendly dialogue with our good friends at Nike, and Nike came to us and they said they'd found an interesting company through their sort of venture arm and introduced it to our venture arm. So our venture arm is we actually have our own clean tech venture capital for making targeted investments in clean technology. Mm-hmm. We've made about 7 investments so far, 6-7 investments. And we looked at Daiku, and Daiku, they have a fantastic technique where you use CO2, recyclable CO2. So it's basically using a component from air that's to carry the dye. So you're not using dye heavily diluted in water, in hot water. You're using it much more targeted in CO2. And then all of the dye goes where you want it, on the textiles. So you don't have any waste dye, you don't have any effluent runoff, and you recapture most of the CO2 and reuse the CO2. So it's a game changer. You take a water-intensive process and make it water-free. Mm-hmm. Real game changer. Mm-hmm. So we've co-invested in that, and we just announced it alongside Nike. Mm-hmm. And it's great because together, if we look at their supply chain, our supply chain, working with the suppliers, we can go in, we can help finance it in the suppliers, we can do large-scale commercial trials, and we can help Daiku commercialize the technology. Mm-hmm. And I think you never know. The future has many, many different possibilities. Uh-huh. But if we get it right and Daiku get it right, this could be the new norm for textiles. Mm-hmm. And we'll have solved one problem, a water and energy-intensive textiles industry.
This is good. Now, how do you spell Daiku? This is...
It's D-Y-E-C-O-O.
Okay, so folks can Google that.
Yeah.
So this sounds like it's got a really big potential impact. I mean, in theory, if we could, I don't know what textiles it works on and so on and so forth, but what kind of water savings, what kind of CO2 savings, do you have any idea yet? Or?
We're just working through that. I think you're looking at, water savings is a total water saving.
Right.
So it couldn't be, a bigger water saving. It's quite dramatic. But the other thing with textiles is obviously it's not just the process, it's where you get the textiles from. Mm-hmm. So we're also pushing, and again, Nike and others are involved in this as well, but we've also been pushing ahead on better cotton. Mm-hmm. So looking deep into the cotton fields, and cotton it's thirsty for water. I mean, it's more water intensive than almost any other crop. Mm-hmm. Use flood irrigation in dry parts of the world. And then it's pesticide intensive, mm-hmm. So it actually dominates the amount of pesticides that are used relative to the amount of crop, and people have health problems as a result of the pesticides in the fields. Yes, we don't think of this when we think of nice cotton, of the problems associated with it. Lots of fertilizer as well, and then farmers can be locked into poverty because of the amount of money they have to pay on inputs. So with partners such as WWF and Save the Children and others, we've been looking deep into this, and we've worked with more than 100,000 farmers so far. And we're at 58% today, I think, better cotton. Mm-hmm. So, and in the better cotton, you have half the pesticides, more or less. It varies from region to region, but more or less half the pesticides, half the water, and a third the fertilizers, and you get an improved yield through better agriculture. And in places like India, you get kids in school getting a great education rather than kids with health risks in the cotton fields. It's transforming a whole sector, and we're 58% today. We'll be 100% by FY15, by 2015 on this. So we're looking at the whole textiles, but still, even then, cotton's not. you don't want to see cotton use grow. So we've been looking at other fibres like bamboo-based viscose. And if you see something that's called bamboo, usually it's viscose. So you just need some sort of wood-based raw material. But you can get very high fibre yields there with little or no pesticides and things or no water issues at all. So we're looking at bamboo-based viscose, other types of viscose, and we've got some great things in the pipeline for our next interview on this subject, if we did it, where we can look at really what are the textiles that will last us for the 21st century. Because currently, if you take cotton, there's an area it's the size of Germany. It's about 80 million acres, 35 million hectares of cotton scattered around the world. If we more than double the number of consumers, we can't just find twice that much land. So you can do some yield improvement, but really that only takes you so far. So we've got to look at where do we have really good sustainable fibres that are great for people to use, whether it's for a shirt or for a sofa cover, that are totally sustainable for the 21st century. High fibre yields from a unit of land area. And we think we've got some very, very promising ones that we should commercialise in the next year or so.
Brilliant, Steve. I feel like we've barely cracked the surface of a really, really deep and lengthy conversation. And I commend you for thinking about it in such a deeply triple bottom line way, where we've talked not just about water, but we've also brought in the social component and as well as future initiatives as well.
And the good news is it should all save money, because if you can, I wouldn't say it's the motivating factor, it's a co-benefit. But water pricing is becoming more important. So people are paying for water, industrial water use, and that should happen. It should increase. We need to pay for it more. Obviously, energy and CO2. So if we can eliminate the water or radically reduce it in the cotton fields, or save on energy and CO2, we can pass the savings on to the customer as well. So you can have more sustainable textiles to sit on. You can still have beauty in your home with less cost, more dollars in your wallet, and a big saving for the environment.
Win, win, win. Steve, thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome, Nick. Thanks a lot.